Greetings, everyone. Allow me to introduce you to Tsurugi Okkotsu. He is the grandson of Yuta and Maki, and the third character to have a heavenly restriction of this type. I say of this type because there are really four people. Mekamaru is the fourth one, and he had a different type of heavenly restriction that was the opposite of the other three. He had a weak body, and in return, he got a lot of cursed energy and could manipulate it from vast distances. Pretty cool. So, Tsurugi is the third in line. The first one was Toji, the second one was Maki, and now we have Tsurugi in present day. This tells us three things. Toji was different. Heavenly restrictions are more complex than we thought. And lastly, there has to be a trigger to activate your heavenly restriction. Okay, let's talk about the first point. Toji was different, obviously, because he never had to do anything to awaken his heavenly restriction. He just was built like that, as far as we know. Everyone was scared of him since he was born, and the Zenin clan only persisted as long as they did because of Toji's whim. If he wanted to, he could have eradicated all of them. Everyone knew it. Toji was different. We all know that. Never forget it. Second, heavenly restrictions are more complex than we thought. Okay, so Toji, from birth, as far as we know, heavenly restriction was a demon. Like, he was just better than everyone else, and he was elite from the start. Then you get Maki, decade or so later, and she's not really built like that. She has a heavenly restriction, but she's not as good as Toji. That's kind of weird. It's not like it's curse technique based and they have different things. Like, no, they should be relative, at least, if you take away experience, but that's not the case. And we knew why, and that was because she had a twin. And cursed energy treats twins as a single entity. And so when those twins were born, it got split. And so as long as Mai was alive, cursed energy was still tied to Maki, and she could not fully grasp heavenly restriction. She was not granted it fully. We understood that. But it gets a little bit deeper because even after Mai died, she still wasn't on the level of Toji. She got a lot stronger, but she still wasn't as strong as Toji. And we see that in the culling games. And she's like, damn, I can't really mess with Naoya. I'm pretty sure we all know Toji would have did away with Naoya in a few seconds flat. We all know that. So Maki wasn't quite there, and I don't think that was due to experience. There was a clear power difference there. Okay, so that was strange. There's levels, and heavenly restrictions are not just this or that. It's not just take away cursed energy and you're stronger, and you get this set level of strength and ability. It doesn't work like that, obviously. And the third thing was that there's some sort of activation key to a heavenly restriction. And I'll refer you back to what I was just saying. Maki had to have this weird experience. She had to train in a compressed time, domain with the sumo dude to learn something. It wasn't just her training and fighting. She was fighting to grasp some sort of concept that would allow her to fully dive into her heavenly restriction. And that is when she became almost equal to Toji. At that point, the difference in Toji and Maki was just experience and then personal fighting style. So they were pretty much relative there. I would still give the edge to Toji in my opinion, just because he seems like a better fighter. But that's not the point. The point is, there is some sort of thing you have to do to activate your heavenly restriction. Clearly, it doesn't just come to you. There's something you have to grasp. The senses, sensing the air, and this, something triggers it, and that gets turned on for you, and then you're now in full heavenly restriction mode. Toji was able to grasp that since birth. That was just his innate disposition to fight like that and see the world like that. And so he didn't have to do that. He was already born like that. Maki, on the other hand, was not born with a complete heavenly restriction, and so she probably didn't have that disposition, and so when she finally got it, she had to learn it. That's the difference, I would say, between those two. And then now you have Surugi. Here's the weird case, and he's the third in line. Here's why I know heavenly restrictions are deeper than what we thought, because you can make excuses, as I just did, for why Maki and Toji were not the same, why they weren't of equal strength, even though they had the same exact disposition. Tsurugi has a heavenly restriction, but he still has cursed energy. But he doesn't have a twin. He doesn't have anything holding him back. He's just by himself. He's 17. His sister is 16. They're not twins. So what is the difference between Tsurugi's heavenly restriction and then Maki and Toji's heavenly restriction? Are there levels to a heavenly restriction? We know there are different kinds, hence Mekamaru and then Toji and Maki's. Is there a third kind, or are there levels to a specific type of heavenly restriction? Why is Tsurugi not able to fully get his heavenly restriction? Because unlike Maki, it seems that he was born just like Toji with his heavenly restriction, and he should have had no cursed energy, but he does have a little cursed energy, as confirmed by that child trafficker. He was like, he still has a little bit of cursed energy, so you're a sorcerer, so you'll sell for a good price. That's weird. We can't just glaze over that fact, because he shouldn't have any cursed energy. Where is that cursed energy coming from? We know where Maki's was coming from. Where's Tsurugi's coming from? Is it the ring? Is it the ring that he's wearing? I don't think so. I don't think that's it. It's not the sword, because him and the sword got separated. I'm not sure. It's the first chapter. I'm just bringing to our attention that there's something weird going on with Tsurugi. Like, his heavenly restriction is not the run of the mill, or it is, and there's just, this is Gege's way to finally expand on heavenly restrictions and let us know, hey, I explained it to y'all and gave y'all a glimpse with Maki by showing her begin to understand her heavenly restriction and have to go through a process, since she wasn't born in a complete heavenly restriction. Now I'm going to show you the truth behind that process and what it means, and not just compress time and skip over what actually happened. We might see what the catalyst is to activate a heavenly restriction. Maybe a heavenly restriction is not something you can just be born with and then grasp. It is something akin to a curse technique that you have to develop and learn over time. We didn't see that with Toji, and it wasn't mentioned. We saw it with Maki, but there was an excuse. There was a caveat in the fact that she had a twin and still possessed a little bit of cursed energy via the twin. So this dude Tsurugi is now going to allow us to finally understand what a heavenly restriction is. And if he does grasp it, let's say a heavenly restriction user was in current day, 68 years after the Shinjuku showdown and beating Sukuna, a heavenly restriction, complete heavenly restriction user was here, he would probably be the strongest sorcerer of today. I think we could all agree to that. The whole running memes about, hey, the sorcerers of today are weak. Well, we've only seen 4 sorcerers. We've seen the sorcerers, we've seen the child trafficker, we've seen the siblings, Yuka and Tsurugi, and we've seen Usami. And we don't even know what Usami can do, or even if he is a sorcerer, but I would assume he is. Maybe not, because he had the suit on. He could be like Ichiji in them, where he's just kind of like the guy that drives them around, which that kind of seems what he is. But you know, Gege did mention Usami in that he was a character that was in JJK. So this may just be a different Usami, and he's just the driver guy. He's the black suit guy. So we'll say 3 confirmed for now. We're not counting Maru because he's an alien, but maybe there are other people that are strong. You know, obviously there has to be better sorcerers than just these kids. And they're saying these kids are weak, but listen, are they really? Oh, damn. Ooh. Okay, I'm back. Are they really that different from the other Jujutsu tech kids from the original series? Like, are they really weaker than Megami and Inumaki and Noritoshi Kamo and Nobara and Miwa? Like, are they really weaker than them? Not really. In fact, I'd say they're on par and maybe even stronger. Like, clearly, Tsurugi is better than Maki was at their age. At 17, I would give the edge to Tsurugi. That Bato draw, that's tough. Maybe not. No, I would say he is. I would put my money on him because he also has a cool curse tool. I'm not saying Maki after all the shit. I'm saying beginning of the story Maki, beginning of the story, Tsurugi. I put my money on Surugi. He has a better tool. He's probably got better training. So, yeah. And people actually mess with him. They did not mess with Maki back then. So, yeah, they're not really that different. I do assume that in the Jujutsu tech of the modern day, 68 years after, there are the A+ honor students. There are the Yutas, the Hikaris, the Gojo and Geto from their time period. There are the good people that are raw. We just haven't seen them yet. We will see them though. But I think even with that, a heavenly restriction user should surpass them, given there is no Sukunas, there's no Gojos, there's no Yutas, So I do think that a heavenly restriction user, wielder, possessor would in fact be the pinnacle of Jujutsu tech, which is funny because Jujutsu sorcery is the manipulation of cursed energy, and the peak of that world would be someone that lacks it completely. That's pretty sick. And it does make sense, kind of like the anti-magic in Black Clover. It's like magic is everything, but there's to do with anti-magic, and of course he's going to beat everyone because it's like the antithesis of all of this. I like that. Let me know your thoughts on heavenly restriction. Should we explore it further, or is this just not really something to pay attention to? He is a main character. Keep that in mind. He is like the main focus, one of them, and so his powers have to be explored and developed. And if he has no powers, aka heavenly restriction, we have to explore the heavenly restriction. So there has to be more to it, just given the natural order of things. That's my thought process. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a like on this video and comment what I should talk about next. I will catch you in the next one, guys. Peace. 君の気持ちを大事にしなかった私の頭